Good morning, everybody. I'm Luke Russert in for Chuck Todd, and our great thanks to the cast and crew of The Little Mermaid there at Anthony Wayne Middle School in Wayne, New Jersey. I think Ursula throwing to Chuck Todd is the top 10 moment. Just about an hour from now, at the Supreme Court, a 4-year legal battle to extend the right of marriage to same-sex couples will end with historic oral arguments in a case that could define marriage for the next generation. In 2008, 6 months after the California Supreme Court endorsed same-sex marriage, voters passed a ballot measure adding a marriage ban to the state's constitution. The state gave Barack Obama 61% of the vote and passed Prop 8 with 52% of the vote.
Crowds chanted today in the streets of Los Angeles, as thousands did last night, angry at the success of Proposition 8.
In 2009, a legal odd couple, Democrat David Boies and Republican Ted Olson, best known for being on opposite sides in Bush v. Gore, challenged Proposition 8 in court. Prop 8 was struck down in the lower courts. Today, the high court will consider whether the marriage ban is unconstitutional and discriminatory, and more broadly, whether any state can block it. The two gay California couples who are plaintiffs in today's case made a visit Monday to the National Archives to see the Constitution and spoke again just moments ago.
Today's a very important day for Chris and Sandy and her family, Jeff and myself, and for our country. Like all Americans, we believe that the institution of marriage helps to build stable and strong families, and that's why we're here. Jeff and I long to be married and start a family of our own and have the equal rights that are guaranteed to all Americans that are in loving and committed relationships.
When I was growing up in Bakersfield, California, I was afraid to be myself. I was afraid to fall in love. Sandy and I look forward to a day when we can celebrate our marriage with our 4 children and all of the children in California and across the country.
And here's an interesting nugget of information. Also in the courtroom today, a cousin of Chief Justice John Roberts, Jean Podrosky of San Francisco, a lesbian who wants to get married. NBC News Justice Correspondent Pete Williams is live at the Supreme Court, and he joins us now. And Pete, I want to ask you, what are the issues literally being argued today, and how broad or limited could a decision be coming out of the court?
Well, the main issue is Prop 8 constitutional? Now, the defenders of Proposition 8, who have lost in both the lower courts, say yes, that there's a legitimate government reason for making a distinction between the two kinds of couples. They say only opposite-sex couples can produce children, and that's reason enough for the state to make a distinction. But the other side says it doesn't make any sense because allowing same-sex couples to get married, that won't affect the rights of traditional couples. It won't in any way devalue the institution of marriage. So that's the heart of the case here. Now, it has to be said, Luke, that there is a potential landmine in this case, and here's the reason. The state of California, which normally would defend its own state laws, agrees with the two couples that are suing over Prop 8. They agree that it's unconstitutional. So the legal defense has been on by the people who got Prop 8 on the ballot in the first place. And there remains a legal question about whether they have the right to carry on this appeal. So the narrowest way for the Supreme Court to rule would be to say they don't have any appeal right. That would leave the original ruling standing, which would permit same-sex marriage to resume, but it would apply only to California. So it could be a very narrow ruling, or if the court does what the two couples here hope it will do, it could be a broader ruling.
And Pete, you're a veteran court watcher, obviously. Anthony Kennedy seems to be the one that folks think is a crucial swing vote here, although they think that perhaps Justice Roberts or Alito could also do something on the monumental scale. What do you think in terms of a justices we should pay attention to and how they might move?
Well, obviously, Justice Kennedy, he's traditionally the swing vote, but much more importantly, he has written the two most pro-gay rights decisions that the Supreme Court has handed down. Footnote here, Luke, it was 10 years ago today that the court heard the argument in the Lawrence v. Texas case, the most recent case in which Justice Kennedy wrote a pro-gay rights ruling. So that's why so many people are watching to see what he does.
And lastly, what should we be watching for during the oral arguments that might help us lay people